He's been a state senator, an acting mayor, and now Senator Sam Caliguiri is eyeing a seat in Washington as the 5th District's U.S. congressman. Also, Nancy Wyman has teamed up with Dan Malloy. She says she's ready for a new role in state government, this time as lieutenant governor. And the ING New England Golf Classic is here, bringing back some of the LPGA's rising stars' power to Connecticut. Hi, you're watching The Real Story. I'm Lori Perez. This year's primary slate is crowded with contenders for a massive slate of offices. Today, we take another look at the 5th District and the race for the seat held by Congressman Chris Murphy, who has been in office since 2006. Republicans will first have to cancel each other out in the August primary. There's Justin Bernier, a veteran who served in Afghanistan and who was director of the Connecticut's Office of Military Affairs. He's also in the mix. Also, Litchfield businessman Mark Greenberg. And State Senator Sam Caliguiri is the Republican Party endorsed candidate. He won the endorsement with 67% of the vote at the convention last month. Senator Caliguiri is in his second term representing Connecticut's 16th district. That's Southington, Wolcott, and parts of Cheshire and Waterbury. He was acting mayor when Waterbury Mayor Phil Giordano got into trouble there. He is a partner. He's on leave in the Hartford law firm of Day Pitney. He's a married father of 2 young children and a lifelong resident of Waterbury. Thanks so much, Sam, for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're
Lori.
happy to have you on to talk about this race. First of all, let's start off with, you mentioned you're very friendly with Congressman Chris Murphy. Why send him home?
Well, because I disagree with him on the policies. He's a smart, capable guy. I've enjoyed getting to know him over the years, but this is not about personalities. This is about issues. This is about what's right for the people of Connecticut and the people of this nation. And I think Chris Murphy has consistently voted the wrong way for the people of Connecticut and the people of the 5th District. So it's really about issues. It's about policies. It's about an agenda that I think is hurting us, not helping us.
So let's talk about some of the votes. I assume you're making allusion to the health care vote. I mean, is there any part of health care reform that you would keep?
Well, we need to do health care reform. Some of the tax credits that are in there, there are smaller pieces of it that are good, but I think that, Congressman Murphy's support for public option, which he was disappointed we didn't get, the expansion of Medicaid, the increase in taxes, the cut to Medicare, those are all, I think, the wrong solutions to health care reform. We need to do health care reform, but there's a better way to do it, and I'm looking forward to talking about it during this campaign.
Yeah, give me an idea, just quickly, one idea of health care reform that you'd support.
Yeah, there are 3. Refundable tax credit for small businesses to make it more affordable for small businesses to provide health insurance to their employees, levelizing the tax treatment between individuals in the individual market and folks who buy in the group market, and then a high-risk pool for individuals who can't otherwise get health insurance. Those are 3 ways that we can do health care reform without growing the size of the federal government.
Okay, and I mentioned this is going to be kind of rapid fire, so let's move on to the recently passed financial reform bill. Right. You were not a big fan of it, but what, certain elements of it, what's wrong with making it harder for people to get credit?
Well, harder. It's going to make it harder for small businesses to get credit, harder for individuals to get credit.
Well, but what's wrong with that?
Well, what's wrong is credit is what fuels the growth of the business cycle. It's what helps businesses. We're talking about their lifeline. We're talking about small banks that offer credit to businesses. This huge bank tax that was in there is going to make it harder for people to get that. And credit, we're not talking about commercial credit in the sense of credit cards. We're talking about the kind of credit that businesses use to continue to operate.
What else did you think it fell short of doing?
Well, it didn't tackle the fundamental cause of the problem that got us to the mess in the first place with this Fannie and Freddie. It did nothing to reform Fannie and Freddie, and yet they were at the heart of the problem. It also creates vast new bureaucracies that aren't going to do anything to protect us from the kind of problems we experienced in the first place.
So if you were to go to D.C., you would move to change that or to reform the reform bill?
Well, yeah. I would tackle Fannie and Freddie. I would make sure we go back to making Fannie and Freddie truly independent, where they can do the underwriting the way the professionals say we need to do it, and now the way the politicians tell them they have to do it for political gain.
Okay, the other big thing in the news right now, of course, is the horrible the oil spill in the Gulf. They recently said that they were able to stop some of the flow. Some people buy it, some people don't buy it. But either way, it's obviously a very long and expensive cleanup. Do you think that BP should be responsible for the cleanup and for compensating small businesses and such who have been adversely affected?
Yes.
You do? Completely?
Completely.
All right. And how do you think that they're doing in terms of the cleanup? Do you think that the Congress should be more involved in watching that?
Well, I think the federal government should be doing everything they can to help Louisiana. The incredibly long time it took for Louisiana to get the permits in place to do some of the remediation work, some of the protection work, that's exactly the problem. The BP is responsible. They have to be held responsible. But the federal government shouldn't be an impediment to getting things done, and they were for quite a while because of how bureaucratic they've become.
Right. Speaking of impediments, you have said that the Obama administration should get out of the way in terms of the Arizona immigration law, that they should let Arizona strengthen its enforcement laws. Tell me why you agree with that, and don't you see some of the counter-argument that it perhaps might trigger profiling?
Well, a couple things. Number one, if the federal government were doing its job in enforcement in the first place, Arizona wouldn't need to do it. Number two, the federal government shouldn't be using its time and energy suing states. It should be doing the enforcement in the first place. And number three, that law was amended within a week of its initial enactment to make sure that it doesn't encourage profiling, which I would completely disagree with.
So what do you think? I know that Chris Healy, Republican chair, said today that Richard Blumenthal should join on with other states who are supporting the Arizona law. What do you think Connecticut should be doing?
Well, I mean, I think Connecticut should do its part in making sure it enforces existing law. The Labor Department needs to do its part, but we ought to make sure that we're telling our policymakers in Washington, including Congressman Murphy, tell the administration to enforce our law, not go around and sue states that are struggling and trying to make sure that they do everything they can to protect their citizens.
Obviously, Arizona is a much different situation than Connecticut, but do you see issues here in Connecticut?
Well, I think immigration is an issue everywhere, and enforcement of our laws is an issue everywhere, but it's especially problematic in border states like Arizona.
What else do you want to talk about? Let's talk about the budget. Obviously, you've been involved with the budget here in Connecticut. Tell me what your feeling has been about how we've kind of amended some of the problems that we've been having with the budget here in Connecticut.
Well, look, I was the only person to vote against the 2007 state budget in the Senate, the only Republican in the General Assembly, and I did it because I predicted it was going to result in massive deficits. Ultimately, the problem isn't revenue. The problem is spending. When we spend beyond a rate we can afford, we create the problems that we're facing today. There's no doubt the problem was exacerbated by the economic crisis, but we started with a budget that was structurally out of balance. We have exactly the same problems in Washington. That's one of the reasons I'm running. Spending is out of control. It's at an unsustainable rate in Washington, and someone needs to go down there and say no, and we've got to be more responsible.
What are you willing to say no to in the federal government?
Well, you got to take it program by program, but I'm a firm supporter of putting tough enforceable spending caps in place on the entire federal budget in order to force Congress to do what it seems unwilling to do, frankly, when either party has been in power. I mean, the Republicans, when they were in power, spent sometimes more than they needed to and more than they should have. So we need people to go down there and ultimately fight for people by saying no to unreasonable spending.
So this is turning out to be perhaps a more aggressive, more challenging race than you thought when you got into it?
Oh, I knew it was going to be very aggressive and very challenging. I never took it for granted. You know, I've been involved in Republican politics in Connecticut for a long time. I've never seen a stronger slate of candidates for every office, including the 5th District, than we have this year. That's why the huge win we had at the convention was especially gratifying, because my two opponents for the Republican nomination in the primary are outstanding people. They're very good candidates, and I'm very proud to be in the field with them.
What about across the board? Do you think in November, countrywide, Republicans are going to take a lot of seats?
Yeah, I think they will, and I think we will do it here in Connecticut, including in the 5th District, because we've got the stronger message on jobs, we've got the stronger message on getting our spending under control, and we've got better solutions for health care reform.
All right. Well, we wish you good luck. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot
for being here. It's enjoyable. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Nancy Wyman. She has been in charge of Connecticut's books for 16 years. Now she wants to take what she's learned to the state's front office.